Greetings and welcome everybody far and wide around the globe to the new Immune 365 Healthy by Choice event on a Tuesday where we host Professor Desire Dubounet and Rita, and always, leading edge, new paradigm information. And today we're going to be talking specifically about the nature of disease, a life force, chi, prana, call it what you like, making sure that we have a very charged battery in order to deal with disease, detoxify, and basically, encourage an emotional shift, because 100% of disease, of emotions will manifest in the physical. So we want to hear from the professor, from the source, the reason behind designing the software like she has. And we're going to use breast cancer as the example because we are just seeing a more and more prevalence of this. And really, we would like to express, the need to shift emotionally and bring the life force and the chi into us. So welcome, Desi and Rita. It's always an honor and a privilege to have you guys, and I really do appreciate it. I see you in sunny Baltimore, and hope you're having good weather.
It's a beautiful day today.
Yes, we do. It's a beautiful summer day.
Hot.
Awesome. Over to you, Desi.
90 degrees today.
90, wow.
90 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that, about 33?
33, 35 Celsius, yes. So we are trying to enjoy the last month of summer here.
Very humid. I'll turn the light on and get a little more.
Let's go, Desi. We're waiting to hear from you what you really wanted.
So the question about how I made the software. That was, you want me to start?
Yes, and then bring it into the breast cancer and the emotional release, and bringing in chi and prana.
Okay. Basically, I went to well, first off, out of high school, I worked on the Apollo project. Okay. I worked for AC Electronics. We made the navigation system. I worked on the navigation system. I was an electronics student, and I was an electrical engineer at the same time. So that was a lot of fun. And gradually, I started to see that there was more to the world than just this logic brain. Then I discovered that there was a left and right in medical school. Get to medical school, and I found out that the entire thing was all designed to sell drugs. Everything was about drugs and surgery. If the drugs didn't work, they had a surgery for you. In fact, if the drugs didn't work, they had a different drug for you. Everything was about drugs. And then I recognized that the entire intervention between me and the patient was all designed to be words. Then you would do a blood analysis, you see, after you did your words. And your usual, as a medical doctor, you're told to spend less than 10 minutes with your patient. And I said, well, yeah, how are we going to get to know? So I started finding out more. My eldest son, Daniel, was autistic. He was autistic because of a drug, bendictine. The first form of this drug was thalidomide. Horrendous substance that produced children with flippers instead of arms. It was horrendous. Well, when I went to the court case for this, we found out that all the synthetic drugs that they made synthetic in the laboratory. It was all bastardization. I was able to prove it scientifically, to prove this. Of course, when I went back to medical, I was in my internship by now, and when I told them that I won't use synthetic drugs, and I was the best. There was only 3 psychiatrists in the city of Youngstown, and the other ones basically gave me shit and ended up forced me out because I won't do their drugs. And I had stumbled around and looked at all this stuff, and then I found out that over in Germany there was a group doing electroacupuncture. They were doing electroacupuncture, and they had resistance meters, and they were measuring resistance points, acupuncture points. Dr. Bohl, EAV, electroacupuncture according to Bohl. Well, as an electrical engineer, it's a lot more than just resistance. So I went to visit Dr. Bohl. He was doing a lecture in New York City, and I went there. And I said, have you measured the volts at these spots, the amps? And he looked at me and he said, what's a volt? He did not know what a volt was. He's teaching an electrical form of medicine. And he didn't know what a volt or an amp was. Oh, shit. So I decided I'm going to make a system that would really be the best in energetic medicine.
Yeah.
Not just to measure the skin resistance, but to measure the voltage, the amperage. You know, you wouldn't just measure the skin resistance of your television if it's bad. You have to find out the volt a second. When I pick up this coffee here, say, my body reacts to it within 1/100th of a second. Well, I can't measure these points like this in 1/100th of a second. You can't be that quick, you know. So then I said, well, what if we took it? Then I found there was another science called voltammetry where I could measure the shape of this. This is coffee with almond milk.
And curcuma. Yes.
And curcuma. So my tongue, I have shape receptors. Each of these substances has a shape. And when it triggers onto a shape receptor, it says, coffee, almond milk, see? So it triggers. So then I recognized, well, there was a science called voltammetry where I could measure the shape. But then once I could measure the shape, then I could send those signals into the body and see how you react at 1/100th of a second. In fact, I could do it faster. When we did this, we found that everybody reacts a little different, so we had to calibrate. Because some people react really slow, some people react really fast. Big story behind that, but so I started to recognize that build this technology. Step back a bit. Once I dropped out of engineering school, so I thought I wanted to be one too. I went to the school, and they kept telling me about the calling. One day you're going to get the calling. I said, yeah. I said, really? And they said, yeah. God's going to really talk to you. Well, I talked to a lot of the other ones. They said, oh yeah, God gave them the message. This was their calling. I waited, and then one day I got the calling, and God said, I don't want you here. I want you to rewrite molecular biology. And I said, well, I didn't even know what that was. He said, you'll figure it out. And then I started a conversation with God, see? And basically I started finding that I could make the system and let God flow through me, and realize that I had been given the education of medicine. I've been given the education of electronics, and I've been given and I also have a degree in law, and I could put this together and make something for the world. So I started making the software. Then I needed to have a programmer. So the first programmer I found was Leventa. This was I don't do it now. It's way too complicated for me now. I'm making movies.
She still works all day, all morning.
Yeah,
and I'm very, very glad to actually witness that, because her brain is always on fire.
I'm making my movies, okay, just to tell these stories. So I put this together, and then when I got my first Delphi, which is to learn programming, did you, in the program, you see where all the eyes pop up? There's a part in the calibration where all the eyes pop up. Boop, 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 boop.
Yes, I do.
That was the very, very first program I ever wrote. It's still there, exactly the way I wrote it. So that was the very, very first program that I ever wrote, those little eyes. So then I started to recognize more and more and more. I went to Ireland a couple of years after that, and there was a friend of mine named Tony Hughes. Nice guy, reputable guy. And, I came in and I showed them the system, because I was able now to put this whole system together. And I came there, and he said, we know you're smart, Bill. And they happen a lot faster. I wake up in the morning with an idea. And oftentimes I said, oh, that won't work. And no, do it. Okay. Yet it worked. When I first showed Leventa how we're going to take this and we're going to send information into the body and measure the reaction with the computer, he said, it's impossible. He went to all his professors at college. He said, no, it's impossible. And then he came back a week later. He says, it works. We had a radio. We hooked the computer to the radio, and we could hear the sounds going back and forth. And we got a notion.
Wow.
And we started to see that everything was working like God had told me. So we started putting it together. One day, 1997, somebody called to me and said, could you make a radionics device? Could you put radionics into this device? I said, fine. Radionics at the time was using a rub plate. You would take a rub plate and you would move your fingers on the plate where it would stick. Then you knew something was there, see? So, but it was your body and you would rub. Similar to if you would use a pendulum. If you use a pendulum, say, then your body's in control of the pendulum. Or if you use the point probe, communication was helping autistic children to type. And it turned out it was the parents who were doing the typing, not the autistic child. So I said we have to measure the body electric direct and not use the point probe. Put this all together. And slowly over the course of years, doctors will call up, oh, can you put in this function? Vitamins. Okay, sure. Can you put in this function? The brainwave. Can you put in the stem cell? What can you do? And of course, since I'm working with the body electric and everything is electrical, yes, I can find a way. Certain ones are better than the others, but I can always find a way to put these. So I started programming as more and more doctors said, well, I'd buy one if it does this. And I said, okay, so I put it in there. I developed it slowly, step by step. And here we are after 45 years, I'm an overnight success.
Amazing. 37,000 devices sold around the world. Desi.
We sold 37,000 devices around the world. At a great thing. One man told me once, he's from Colorado, Leonard Dobie, and he told me, he says, you'll never know the lives that you've saved.
Yeah.
You never know, because in his practice, he had 25 people who were supposed to die who didn't, who had long lives and he said everything said that they had to die. And I've heard this from so many people, and he said, you'll never ever know how many real lives you saved during your life. So I'm very interested. But that's how I put together the software, and I'll tell one more story. Because a long time ago, a man brought me to Boston, and he wanted to see the technology, and he was thinking about working with us. I said, okay. If you've ever been to Disneyland and you've seen the park benches that are made with wood and iron on the side, he made those benches. That was his job. So he was a very rich man, had a lot of money. We went there. He sat down. I put the machine. And I was there all day, and he kept asking me all day, what's my dream? He said, what's your dream? What do you want to, what's your dream of this technology? And I didn't answer. I just played it off. And finally, at the end, he wrote me a check that had so many zeros in it, I would never have to work again. And I said, what's your dream? I asked him, what's your dream? He said, what we're going to do is we're going to take this technology and we're going to go into every city around the world and have a health food McDonald's franchise where you'll go in, get your herbal coffee, your herbal tea, your supplements. You'll go in the back, sit down on the device, somebody will run you. The information will go to a team of medical doctors in Boston, sitting in a room. They will look at the scores, and then they will recommend vitamins and minerals that you will get in your bag to take home.
All right.
And I said, your dream is to take the doctor out of the loop. I said, my dream is to put the doctor into the loop. In other words, I want to teach the therapist and become better than doctors. The what doctors do is so simple and so archaic. Asking well, what's wrong with you, John? And the human brain has no idea what's wrong with them.
No.
The human brain has no clue.
And the other, important thing is, if somebody is asking what is the cure, it cannot be one word, because it has to be involving more elements.
It's got to be complex.
It's complex. It's about the lifestyle, about the environmental effects, the nutrition, the stress reduction.
So I wanted to put the therapist,
social networking.
I wanted to put the therapist into the loop and make sure that we get qualified therapists to do this.
And it's important to back and forth have a talk with your patient.
Not just protocols. No, you got the body electric is now telling you something. It's not about what you think.
Everybody is individual and everybody is different, so we have to determine in each and every case what is the current situation. That's why we have to establish nice, proper communication with our patients who we are working with.
I wanted to do that, and I wanted to be able to make sure that we get our therapist aware of looking what the machine is telling them and going in deeper, and then interacting with the patient. What does the patient think? Where should they go? Sensing when the patient is defensive. Oh, don't go there. Don't go. You know, when that might be an indication you need to go there. So to develop that insight and that awareness, to put the doctor into the loop, and then recognizing that we are just here for that 1 hour, maybe a month. We're not with them. You know, I told them, when they're smokers, I can't follow you home and knock the cigarettes out of your hand. And I said, I'm not going to wake up at night and call you to see how many candy bars you ate. Okay. We are teaching responsibility medicine. We are trying to get the patient responsible, and they need to listen. That's why we start this whole thing with the most powerful medicine, behavioral medicine. We start this whole process with the behavioral analysis.
Yes.
What life behaviors do they do that mess them up, that suppress and obstruct the curative form? Every time I get one of these therapists that don't want to do that, don't want to do the SOC, they don't want to use the harness, they just want to look for protocols. What's the protocol for a headache? You know, you could see 10,000 patients with headaches, and you'll have 10,000 different cases.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not easy. And I built this immune. So then I built an international medical university. International medical university, 3 of the most powerful words in the entire human language. And then what did I do? I put 100 courses.
You can also check the courses. You can also find the courses until the official training information when you open up the program. It is right there, where you see the test and the calibration and the demographics.
Yeah, it's all there. But then to recognize that I have made this phenomenal thing, because every disease can have a natural treatment. And I try to make it immune to the governments of the world. That's why it's called Immune, International Medical University of Natural Education, to make sure that governments could not destroy it, because they've tried. They tried to destroy me. They put me in jail. I'm free now. Not just by a loop. That's just because the only reason that this has happened is that the 3 FDA people who were after me retired last year. That's
synchronicity, timing, patience.
I would be in court right now. I would be in Washington, D.C. in court. My court case was going to be in this week. I would be fighting my life in a court case, and I would probably have been kept in jail the last 6 months. But these people retired. The judge looked at the case, and the judge said, what's this? We don't take cases like this. You see? It's untrue. But believe me, turn over every stone, everything you find out is true. Okay? It's true.
And we are still continuing adding some more actions and stories to our life.
So right now I'm working on the movies of my life. I've gotten to the point I finished movie number 1 and 2.
Right.
If somebody wants to preview it, let me know. Okay, but I can't be releasing it. I can't be releasing it to.
We are just looking for comments and feedbacks.
I'll take individual comments. Individual, call me on Skype,
All right.
whatever, and we'll talk about it. If you want to watch a movie, why don't you give me feedback? Okay. I'm sure that there's. I step on an awful lot of toes. Let's put it that way.
Lizzie, just to go back a second, the device is registered with the FDA, so the information is validated and verified, and that's all people really need to know. The results, evidence-based
medicine, it's perfectly accurate, because even your temperature, anything you buy, you have to have at least 80% accuracy to get your registration. So it doesn't mean perfect, It just is. You have to follow up on these things.
So exactly. So we had this unbelievable quantum software that you've brought to the planet, and moving more now to disease. I remember one day in breast cancer, you said to us, we were at one of the international world conferences, and you said, "I've never met cancer."
Yeah, never met cancer. Don't want to.
I want to expand on it a little bit, because a lot of people listening in also that might have whatever, we don't want to name it and all the rest of it. I mean, what is it really, and should we really be getting in touch with our emotional space here?
Exactly. Okay, I'll take a step back when I told you about how the machine, you see things reacting on the machine, and if you don't see what you want to see, you could be wrong. My dad had a cancerous lump on his butt, right there. It was pretty big, bigger than a walnut, smaller than my fist. Okay, and had this cancer. They tested it, cancerous. Better get rid of it. So I ran him on the machine, and number one thing came up: glass. In fact, types of glass came up really hard in the first couple items. Glass. I didn't think anything of it. I was looking for cancer. Didn't see it. They operated on the tumor. The friend of mine did the job, Mark Schreiber, and he did the job. And he came out, and he said, "Look at this." He says, "Inside this tumor, there's a piece of glass. A piece of broken glass." Well, we both walked in. My dad was, fine, because it was. And my dad says, "Oh," he said, when he was 6 years old, he fell on a milk bottle and broke the milk bottle, and a piece of glass got caught in his ass. He didn't tell his mother. He just put a diaper over it, whatever, and he didn't tell her. Because milk bottle, that was, like 2-3 cents. He lived in Depression times. A broken milk bottle was horrendous. Oh my God, So he didn't tell anybody. And here it was. The cancer was trying to get rid of the glass. Cancer is the last stage of detox. If the body cannot get out that toxin in any other way, it tried perspiration, it tried urine, it tried stool, and it can't get out that toxin. You keep pushing that toxin in more and more and more. Boom. Number one toxin involved with breast cancer: smoking, cigarette smoking. Behind every case of breast cancer, there's going to be emotional problems with their mother or the mother within. I found this out. I didn't think of it at first. I thought, but everyone I've ever checked.
It doesn't matter which breast, both breasts.
Both breasts, there probably would be something about that, but I don't know what it is. But I'm sure that they're right of that is involved. But at any rate, but I every time, say something. What about your mother? What about my mother? What are you talking about? They react, because that unresolved issue sets up some dynamics, and that dynamics affects itself. So I did nobody had ever studied natural chemotherapy in a critical setting. Chemotherapy was discovered when they found that vinca, which is periwinkle, the flower.
Yes.
This vinca is a poison. The healthy horse, the healthy cow, the healthy pig will not eat it. It's poisonous. It's not extremely poisonous. You have to eat a lot, but it's poison. As soon as one of those animals, the cow, the pig, the horse, gets cancer, they will knock down the fence to get to the vinca to eat it. And the farmers realize this, and sometimes that cancer goes away. So the farmers told people in the chemotherapy, chemical business, chemical people were not interested in growing vinca. They're not interested in making better and better quality vinca. They're only interested in synthetics, making it synthetic in the laboratory. They made this, and they called it vincastrin because it was named after the vinca. So nobody had ever horrendous. If a window got broke, nobody fixed it. If there was a pothole in the street, nobody fixed it. Nothing got fixed.
Those were a little bit different times.
It was terrible times. But anyway, I was there, and we went into the university, and for the very first time, we did the study. I met some of the most incredible, smart, intelligent people working in the university, and they were making $10 a month, literally. They were making $10 a month. And I hired them to do the study on vinca. And I had to go there every month, and I couldn't pay them with a $5. No, I had to take in $1 bills because at the time, Ukraine had no money, none, no, zero.
Wow.
Coupons. You got this little coupon. They didn't have the money to print money. They made coupons. I was working there one day, and the guy, doing a little work in the laboratory, the guy came by and said, "Would you like a little bit of cream in your coffee?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I always have cream in my coffee." I said, "Yeah." And he said, his face went white. He said, oh, that was a joke. We don't have cream or milk. I said, "What?" That's sold in the government store. We can only buy our stuff in the black stores. We can't go to the milk is not to be sold in the black market. It had to be sold in government stores, and there's a 200 people line in front of that store. He says we don't have the time to wait in line to buy milk, and even if we did, it's too expensive for us. So they didn't have milk. So I started doing work over there, and I started seeing that here, natural chemotherapy was by far more effective, but it was infinitely safe. Synthetic therapy was really not only did it not do the same job, but it was extremely unsafe. 120 people in this synthetic group got vincastrin. They will all die in the next 2 years. 120 people in our natural group, who most of them survived over 10 years. Many, a lot more. It was amazing. So here we found out that natural works.
Yeah.
I gave this paper at an international congress on oncology cancer in Paris, France. And the name of the congress was "We know you're sick, but no, we know we get you better, but you come back. We know that we know that what we're doing." They didn't say chemotherapy. "We know that what you're doing, we can get you better, but then you come back." I said, I think I know why. Because you're using synthetic chemotherapy. Why don't you try natural? Everybody looked at their shoes. Seriously, just looked at their shoes because the drug companies power medicine. And when I started trying to tell the dangerous truths like this, I was hated. And slowly they worked against me. So we all have to do this.
We are together since 2012, and
we've been together 10 years.
And since Desiree has had her battles with the evil ultra-rich and with all these official and legal cases, I was always by her side supporting her. And beside Desiree, I learned quantum biofeedback. I became a trainer and a therapist, but I really enjoy doing. And now I'm helping Desiree to make this movie, nicer, more colorful. And in the future, I hope I can meet many of you, including with Jane, and we can expand this beautiful technology, connect it with proper education, and we can see everybody around the world. That's my big goal, to get together more with people in person, and I hope that we can bring this industry on a higher level.
The name of our is Dangerous.
Desi, we put the periwinkle into my probiotic, the live probiotic. We put the periwinkle in there.
Yeah, make sure you don't put too much because it's poison if you're healthy.
I'm here for everybody who needs mentoring with the courses, or any sport motivation, performance enhancement, or if you just are a little bit lost with the programs and you need a little bit of help by operating anything, feel free to contact me. I'm here to provide support and help.
I don't use the Vinca unless I know there's cancer, but we're using about
it's my special one. We call it the plus, but the microbes also know what to do with it. You know,
we are on Eastern American time, for everybody to know. We are on Eastern time.
Yeah, we're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And the name of our movies is Dangerous Truth, you see, because that's all we do. We talk about dangerous truth.
Yeah.
And the music is written and sang by Desire Dubounet.
All my own music.
Yeah, it's the movie contains her own original music.
Movie 1 is 2.5 hours. Movie 2 is 2.5 hours. Movie 3 is going to be maybe
movie 3 is still under construction.
I'm working on movie 3 right now.
So Desi, let's just finish off, and thank you for this valuable information so far. We're talking about the doctor in the loop, and we're also talking about us then being the doctors, not sitting and confined behind this computer, but getting up and working with EMDR, working with the chi, working with the life force. I know it's happening in any event. We've got a prayer wheel. We've got all of that on the computer too. It's happening in real time. But the therapist needs to get up. You can't be sitting.
Oh, yeah. No. It's all time. I've been working for the last 8 hours, so it's time for me to get up. We're going to go to the gym.
Desi,
I
meant during the hour session.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Need to be working with the patient, getting the chi moving, getting the life force moving, getting the emotion out. The
emotional field also to make the physical field involved in.
I think God has purposefully kept me out of the limelight, and now I'm hoping that my movies will bring the limelight in, and people around the world will see what I'm doing.
The movies are going to involve a lot of science, but also they will contain some provocative messages, because we are trying to make people aware and awake that there are all kinds of things and beliefs existing.
We have to save humanity.
We are trying to teach people to always be able to think a little bit outside of the box, and not always think small-minded. Just for them to be able to open up and think big, and see with maybe with other people's perspectives and with other people's thinking.
I think it's important to raise awareness. And there's one question there. Someone is saying, what about wearing a bra with a breast cancer?
I don't.
So if you've got a metal bra with a metal piece underneath, wearing a bra with a breast cancer.
Well, not to be concerned about whether it's heat and everything, So that's an individual thing we have to think about. I don't think that there's any evidence that wearing a bra makes you more susceptible to cancer. I do not know that. That could be the case. I know of no studies about that. There might be something like that. That's an interesting question. In the case of what we did with our in Ukraine, we used a type of mustard poultice on the breast, and it produced a heat that the doctors thought that the heat in the mustard poultice, mixed in with some of the vinca and with the poultice, that might have helped it as well. So I really can't address that. I'm going to have to go off.
Right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And, a lot of people will get the recording, and let's hope that we continue.
Send me the link to the recording. Okay.
I'll do that. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to carry on a little bit with some physical products, nutrients, nature-made products that are already in the quantum spin that we use to enliven the body, bring in the life force so that the detoxification can happen. Because as you heard from Desi, first of all, we need to identify the cause. Is it a piece of glass? Is it a toxic chemical? Is it a toxic emotion? Is it a bunch of things? And once we can get that assessment on our quantum device, there's no more guessing. The body electric has told us we've given the subconscious of the patient a voice. We have the information in front of us and we can start detoxifying. But most importantly, we can validate. So we can see from day to day, week to week, the validated reading of the state of the breast cancer, the carcinoma, whatever it might be, the state of toxicity. Are the parasites? Is the Lyme's disease, the mycoplasma, is it moving off? Are the vaccinations moving out? People can't quite get their head around it. But our evidence-based medicine, where we see the results, the patient gives the results, we're working with a research device, quantum software, substantiate everything we're doing. And the hundreds and thousands of people that have benefited from all of this. So I hope you've all really benefited and enjoyed, hearing from the source. And I think this kind of recording needs to really be saved because you have the information directly yourself. And, very, very intricately and specifically designed to be part of the new paradigm. It is quantum medicine. So those people that are listening in too regarding diseased areas of the body, detoxify, of course, but remember to look physically, neurologically, emotionally, and spiritually. Are you on your spiritual path? Is what you're doing serving you? Because your soul will be at you, until you do make that final decision, and it gets harder and harder and harder, and you get hit further and further. And so that's just really, from my perspective too, with the patients, it's also timing. And so everything has a time. And most importantly, what Desi was saying as well is physician, heal thyself. You need to be, we practice responsibility medicine, behavioral medicine. You need to take responsibility for whatever is presented. So do I. Everybody has to. And it is our learning. It's part of our trial and our tribulations, our trials and our tribulations. And that is what gets us to the next level and the next level. But in order to detox, we need a charged body. We need a charged battery. The body electric must be charged. And Desi talked about working on this for the last 45 years. It is her life work. And, the thousands and thousands of therapists out there, to really bring this quantum medicine to the fore. And it's extremely holistic in that it's dealing with all the parameters of health. And, what I like to do is support this with, as Rita was mentioning too, breathing properly, hydrating yourself, getting into the sun, putting your feet on the ground, getting charged by the earth, charged by the sun, eating nutritional food that's organically grown, that's got trapped sunlight, which is highly vibrational, which is going to bring life force into you. So that battery is charged. That is when we can detoxify. If you're too weak, you can't detoxify, and it really is a downward spiral. Basically, that's it. So, we see people at all levels, some people that have been for the chemo, been for the radiation, some people that are considering it, some people that say flat out, no, we're not having it. At the end of the day, we need to work with nature and the toxin that's there, because it's our soul wanting to shift. And that's the way we have to look at dis-ease, and we shift people from illness to wellness, and we do this naturally, and that is the end result. And so that people don't have to come back, So, our treatment is not always what people expect either. And one needs to know that, because the universe is conducting the orchestra, actually not us. So it's working through us as therapists, it's working through people as well. aspect. There's always an ancestral emotion. It's mom and mom's mom and mom's mom and mom's mom's mom, and you find the lineage coming through, and you find, you know, that the various cancers, illnesses, diseases are passed down emotionally. So we will deal with all of that. You know, we bring in lots of the qigong, the chi, the prana, the breathing, and all of these together with what we do. And, you know, we work synchronistically with the quantum software. So we have the most powerful validation tool on the planet and the most powerful rectification software on the planet. And that's really it. So I want to just show you, I've got a couple of videos to also load in the chat. But if we just go to the slides I put together, I just want to show you some of the Life Force products that we have, that we use to potentiate. Remember, 1 + 1 = 3. Potentiate healing. Because if we can help people charge their battery, all right, raise their life force, then they are much easier and enabled to deal with emotion. And as Desi said, we are not there 24/7. We're not able to. We have too many patients to be there 24/7. So with behavioral medicine, you know, we've got that hour to deal with people to get the message across that you need to heal yourself. Here's some behavioral tools, and you know, get out there and do it. You know, don't be an emotional drag on the therapist. Go out there and do it. And you know, your story is your story. It's not serving you anymore. And it's really amazing to see such beautiful results. These are some of the products on the 365 Healthy by Choice site, products that have also come to me. Many of them I've studied a lot, herbs, traditional Chinese medicine, herbs from around the world. You know, I've also looked at, you know, so stress defensial, there's over 30 nutrients in there. Top herbs and superfoods that I've chosen from around the world to bring in a life force, to bring in nourishment to the cell, but also the ability to detox. So we've got to work with the vitality of the cell, first of all, because if the electrical potential is low, it brings in the flaxseed oil that will raise the electrical potential. So will oxygen and the DMSO to allow oxygen to transfer through to the cell, inside the cell, and food, and then encourage the waste and the carbon dioxide, etc., to leave. That's the first step. So we need to mineralize the body. Here's the almost gold. This is an alchemical mineral product. Gold, silver, copper, nickel, cobalt, iridium, ruthenium, palladium, all the platinum, precious metal minerals. Superconductors. These have to come in first. That is what charges the battery. So this is a starting block. And we bring the flaxseed oil to create the electrical potential across the cell membrane, to create the cell vitality. You know, is it 10% of the oxygen and food that's going in, or is it up to 70, 80, 90? We can measure it there and then. We can see the effect of our treatment. Flaxseed oil does that, apart from a million other things, lining the gut, the lungs, the reproductive system, the brain, the omegas, etc., etc., etc. So these nutrients are used as medicine. Flaxseed oil has the highest life force of all the oils. No other oil is going to do this. Must be cold pressed. We never heat the oil ever. It becomes a free radical. So it's cancer in a bottle if it's heated. All right. So we're bringing in that. We're bringing in the chlorine dioxide, the cell vitality, and oxygen. We're bringing it in because oxygen, the little frequency of this oxygen is less than a breath. So the volts of a breath is 1.3. The volts of the cell vitality is 0.95. It's less than a breath. The voltage of ozone is 2.3. It's too strong. It will basically affect every single cell. You know, so we've got to work with nature here always, and this product does it for us. And the extreme detoxification that you get raises the charge of the body. It charges the battery simply because the negative heavy metals, nuclear reactive, radon, plutonium, uranium, etc. leave, the chemicals leave, the environmental toxins leave. Those things drain the battery. They energetic disruptors. They will discharge you. So we remove the obstruction to cure. All right. And the body's electrical potential rises. So does the immunity. Fact. So does the health of the detox organs. The kidneys work better. The lungs, the liver, the gut, the skin all start working better because we've removed the toxicity. The blood becomes clear. The blood can carry food and oxygen easier, together with all the lifestyle factors. And then we look a lot at nutrients. So we've got all the algae, the blue-green, the chlorella, the spirulina. We've got the medicinal mushrooms, all 6 of them in there. A lot of these are used for repair after chemo and radiation too, especially the Coriolis, the turkey tail, the reishi, the chaga, the maitake, lion's mane, etc., etc. So those are brought in. The bee mix, we use a lot of royal jelly, Ormison royal jelly, to reverse degeneration and bring in the life force so people can start thinking clearly, making intelligent decisions, living productively. So these are all life force products, entrapped sunlight, photons, that are here to raise the life force. And then you find collectively the energy changes, the body electric changes. We've got fermented probiotics here, over 80. Live strains, closer to 120 with the substrains. We don't talk colony forming units. That's just old paradigms, because they have to keep the 1 or the 2 or the maximum 12 that have been humanly identified in a lab and put together and have to be kept cold. Since when? Microbes are alive, they're living, they're electrical beings, organisms themselves, and ours is alive. You don't put it in the fridge, you wouldn't dare, because it dies. You take it with your food, in your water. But these have got intelligence that reshape the DNA of a cell. They reshape your genetic code because they're imprinting on us. 99% of our genetic codes is microbes. We might as well have the friendly ones with us. We might as well have the friendly ones that are ready to go to war. If there's a toxin in the body, they will go into the opportunistic form and go and help aggressively fight toxins. If you don't have a good, strong gut microbial flora, as a professor said to start with, it's a beginning place. You need the gut to be strong, your immunity. So we have it. It will also scavenge the toxins and so on. We've got loads of products. We've got zeolite, all working to detoxify the body and bring in the stem cells, adult stem cells. No need for all the synthetic stuff. The blue-green algae, royal jelly, cordyceps, lion's mane, hoshuwu. So they will assist the kidney, instruct the bone marrow to produce stem cells, adult stem cells, which are called to the diseased area, the degenerative area, bringing the life force back. So degenerative area is an area that's lost the life force. Lost the life force because we need to clean the toxin out on whatever level it might be and bring the life force back. Simple. And very important, this replica RNA DNA, right? And it's produced by beneficial bacteria. It's bacterial cell wall fragments in the right human genetic code. So many things distort our genetic code, including radiation, microwave, including serious genetically modified organisms, which, by the way, if it's a cell wall deficient bacteria, our immune system is not wired to find this. So the replica RNA DNA boosts the immune system and says, hey, you better go there. There's something foreign there. So it's an immune booster enhancer, but it alerts the immune system to go to the area where it needs to fight the organisms. And these organisms and parasites and stuff live in a biofilm. There's never one, they're always co-hosting. And the oxygen in the DMSO will break down that biofilm. We also have enzymes and tryptophan and things to do that too. But they will then break that biofilm and literally go straight in and, demolish, kill whatever's there. So we absolutely saturate the body in oxygen. The normal breath. I heard today that somebody came in misinformed, said that, oh, well, the doctor said he's not sure about oxygen therapy because it's going to spread the cancer. For heaven's sake, that means every breath you're going to take is going to spread the cancer. Come on, seriously. So we're using nature. We're using the number one nutrient, which is oxygen, to clear, nourish, help, remove degenerative tissue, bring the oxygen into the cell, bind it with the electrons, which we're getting from the foods, from getting on the grounding, earthing, from the sun and our breath, etc., and producing energy. Energy is life force, prana, chi. Energy is what is going to raise our battery, raise our life force, bring in the health, bring in the wellness, and assist us to move to another level, to move off the trial page and into the tribulation phase. So I'm really pleased about today, because we've been able to share, the real basics of health. This time crystal device, Desi never talked about, but this is another one of her major inventions. It is a piezoelectric time crystal. All right. And it is moving in real time with us, with the evolution of the earth. It is moving backwards in time and forwards in time, enabling us to repair the old and prepare for the new, and live in the present, and have a 24/7 scalar wave protection against negative emotions, toxicity, and ward it off, to keep us suspended 24/7 in a perfect scalar wave, central position of peace. And when we're operating from that space, the core, when our vortex is spinning perfectly inside us, is where we can think clearly and live productively. This piezoelectric time crystal is not only nourishment for us, it's also detoxification. So, EMF radiation and all of that as well. So those people that have invested, spoiled themselves, understand the value of this. It's got a 300 to 400 year battery in it. It's a piezoelectric life force scalar wave device. Incidentally, in the pineal gland, it is full of piezoelectric time crystals itself, batteries that need to be charged. Our whole body is full of piezoelectric time crystals. So why not wear a time crystal with a piezoelectric battery that's constantly charging? It's constantly charging you. Those people that wear it know about this energy. It's indescribable. It's not often words to put to it. So again, from the inventor, we have the ultimate, a piezoelectric time crystal. So budget and get hold of one, or if you've already got one, that's amazing. And it's available $545. It's still at the launch price, and you can get it within a week, literally. You can buy it on the 365 Healthy by Choice website. So I think we're getting the message here. It's about life force. We neg entropy. Professor and me have talked about it so many times. It's about neg entropy. That is what we feed. Neg entropy wards off death, wards off dying. So all of this is available on the 365healthybychoice.com shop, including the immune course. And those of you who want a consultation, you can speak to Desi, Rita, or myself. You can get hold of me in any event at this number. And, we will help you. We work with therapists as well. Many come to us because they take the information and also share it with their patients too. So what I want to do now is share with you. I think it actually is shared. I'm just going to copy the link, and I want to share with you the video that Desi put out for us to watch. You can watch that yourself. And I also want to remind you of the Life Force video that she gave us a few weeks ago. Let me just get hold of that one, because I would like to show that one as well. I would like you to have that one too. Let me just see where it is. Oh, here it is. Let me just copy this link as well and put this on the chat too. This is a great video. This video will raise your life force. It is just embedded with the right sound, the right energy, the right everything. Listening to it will raise your chi. We've got to get the chi moving. The Chinese know this, all right? We've got to get the chi moving. Get the resistance to flow out. And there's quite a load of other videos too. For me to put down here. What is this one? This one's Awakening Kundalini, which is also Life Force. Let me put this one on here for you as well. And I think there's one more there that I saw. This one here. It's all about what we talked about: oxygen, water, and there. And then I just want to see here as well. Okay, that's it. So any last questions before we close today? You know, I'm really, really grateful for Desi sharing her time with us and very simply putting forward to not only therapists, but also the clients and patients and educators who've come in here, health practitioners, to share this valuable information, which, you know, the time has come because many people have exhausted, you know, what's old paradigm generally being available out there. And, you know, realizing a couple of things, that they are responsible for themselves, and we are really mere catalysts to raise awareness for what they need to surrender. Right? We go through it ourselves too. We're also in the classroom. I always say, until we're walking on water, we also have emotions and stuff to clear. And it will carry on because it's a periods of sadness and joy, trials, tribulations. As long as we can be content about that, work from a place of gratitude, work from a place of patience, be generous in everything that we do, aspire to achieve our purpose on earth. As long as we're doing that, we will achieve happiness. All right. And that, again, it's a Taoist Chinese thing. It's about happiness. They have the happiness symbol. I think you all know that happiness symbol. If you don't, go find it. There's a real message in there. And this is all also, you know, included in the software that we use, especially in the prayer wheel, where they use the voice of thousands of healers, incorporated into that prayer wheel, which we set for every single patient. So I just want to go back. If there's any more information, let me know. As usual, take the information far and wide. Insofar as the 365 Healthy by Choice products are concerned, they're available globally right now. And, you know, we're supplying people in all corners of the earth and will continue. And also to set up branches around the world. And I think really, you know, what are we doing? We're really just talking about nature, simplicity, and working with the quantum forces, the universal forces, the morphogenic field, God, and, you know, our own truth and authenticity, because that will bring the peace and happiness. So without any further information, I think we've ended off on quite a high note. I welcome you all to join us next week and all of that. But that is where all the immune information is documented. All my courses are on there. So, you know, there's a real feast of information available to anybody. And then that immune course as well, in many instances, Desi has rewritten anatomy, physiology, homeopathy. She's rewritten those chapters, and so it's new stuff. I mean, it's not rewritten. It's her own downloaded information on those areas. And you know, I urge any quantum therapist, anyone interested in quantum, you don't even have to be a therapist, to go and then just do the course. It's 650 euros. You get a diploma. It's awesome. You need a mentor if you want to get the diploma, but if you don't, you can go in and do it anytime you like. So no excuses, guys. You know, ignorance is bliss, but now I've told you. So I suppose account